One of the biggest news in football this week was Jon Gruden has resigned from the Raiders head coaching job. Gruden resigned this week after video images resurfaced of him using racist slash homophobic and misogynistic language in emails sent a couple years ago. This was while he was working as an analyst on ESPN. So this leaves the 3-2 Raiders without a head coach. So I will go to you, Brandon. What do you make of this whole situation?
First things first, I will acknowledge that I may be the one eating Popeye's biscuits. No team that's lost their head coach typically stands a really good chance midseason. Fingers crossed that the interim head coach can step up, but I'm not feeling too confident about that. Um, I'm not defending Jon Gruden in any way, shape, or form, but how is he the only one that got exposed? There was 650,000 emails in the course of an investigation that was unrelated, realistically, to Jon Gruden, because I'm pretty sure he was working at ESPN at the time. Um, but he's the only one that got singled out. So somehow, some way, in this investigation, which was the Washington football team's investigation of workplace misconduct, he's the only one that gets in trouble. Um, I'm not shocked he was forced to resign. I think the NFL is trying to make a statement about the way that they treat incidents like racism, misogynistic behavior, homophobic behavior, especially with an openly gay player on his roster. That's a hard one to come back from. My only problem is the entire investigation stemmed from the Washington football team organization and their sexual misconduct as an organization, which is any of the senior leaders on that squad, including Dan Snyder. And for some reason, none of that information has ever come to light. There's been, multiple women that have complained about it, which caused the investigation in the first place. And somehow Jon Gruden is a scapegoat and sort of a decoy. It's like, here, ignore the fact that we only got a slap on the wrist $10 million fine. This guy made a gay slur in an email, which on severity is obviously not right, but I think I would take the 100 accusations of sexual misconduct more seriously instead of just throwing one head coach under the bus. Again, I'm not defending him. I don't think he should have a job after this, but I feel like there's a lot that's being missed, and I feel like there's a lot of covering up going on that everybody just seems to be overlooking.
Jen, what's your take on this, Matt, on this issue?
I think obviously it's a bad situation, and he deserved to get fired. But I think the bigger part is that you know the NFL is actually in a way trying to help the Raiders because obviously, as everybody know, that the reason why he took the job is because he signed a 10-year $100 million contract with an option to purchase a minority stake in the Raiders. um, Obviously, kind of have to dig a little bit deeper into that, but his resignation slash being fired, gets the Raiders off the hook for about 60 million, and don't have to pay up a minority stake, and take him being an actual owner of a team. So I think that's why he's the number one. But just going back to what Brandon said, 650,000 emails. There's going to be a lot of people out there that's going to be either fired or resigned. That's going to be they're never going to see a light of day on a field um, or any sorts. That's going to happen soon.
Okay, and I guess bringing this back to football, Jen, where do what move do you see the Raiders making from for the rest of the season? Seeing as they started the season so hot and losing their head coach, where do they go from here?
So I think they might win a couple games, but they're essentially out of the playoff contentions. They had a pretty okay run. What's most likely going to happen is that just from the perspective, if I was the GM, which I'm not, but theoretically, if I am, I give an extension to David Carr. Not a $40 million a year extension, but extend him for another year or two, just to see how he's doing. Because at the end of the day, like there's not going to be a lot of teams out there that's going to be cutting their starting quarterbacks unless Carolina decides to unload Sam Darnold, which I don't think that would be a good fit either. Or Big Ben, but Big Ben looks like he spends more time on Brazzers than anything else now. So at the end of the day, I think they're going to extend him. They're going to try to keep the core of the team, and they're going to come out as a success story. 2-3 years down the road, but this year they're done. And Brandon, I hope you enjoy those Popeye biscuits because they are going to be dry as hell.
They just got to win enough games to make a playoff spot. I didn't bet them to win the division, which already essentially would have lost, but they just have to get a playoff spot. Fingers crossed that the interim head coach can get some buy-in, win some games, and I won't have to do that.
All right, win some games, Raiders, to avoid Brandon eating some biscuits, or lose them if you want to see him, eat those Popeyes biscuits. I kind of want to see it.